Number 5. Eating a banana. Peeling a banana is probably one of, if not the simplest thing to do, but everyone does it wrong. It's actually pretty well known that apparently the proper way to peel a banana is to hold it from the stem. This is supposed to leave the stem as a handle and leave the fruit less damaged. Most people don't do this simply because they forget or they just don't want to out of habit. Seems like peeling a banana a certain way would not be that important, but bananas do get hard to open in the traditional method when they're not quite ripe. This usually leads to the part of the banana near the stem getting mushed and soggy. Squeezing the tip on the opposite side always leaves the banana mostly undamaged and keeps the banana unharmed while you're eating it. Fun fact, the reason that people believe that using the stem as a handle is the true way to eat a banana is because apes often peel bananas in this way. Since some people have a banana almost every day for breakfast, why not give this technique a try, see which one you like better. If you don't like it, there isn't anyone forcing you to peel a banana this way. We aren't your parents. Number 4. Eating Tic Tacs. Usually when you have a Tic Tac container, it takes a lot of strength to keep yourself from just dumping 4 or 5 Tic Tacs into your hand and eating all of them. The real way Tic Tacs are supposed to be had is to flip the container over and then open the top so that the little oval-shaped bevel can hold a Tic Tac for you. This little bevel in the Tic Tac container never sees much use, but is in fact the way people are meant to get a Tic Tac from the container. This little slot also solves another very common thing that people mess up when eating Tic Tacs, namely that you're not supposed to eat more than one at a time. This is because Tic Tacs are a mint and are meant for freshening your breath, not a candy that should be eaten by the dozens, which is how most people seem to eat them, including myself. If people can resist the taste of Tic Tacs, which we understand is very hard, then by using the bevel they can enjoy Tic Tacs for a longer period of time and use them properly as mints. Number 3. Microwaving. Microwaving leftovers is very annoying. It always microwaves with the middle too cold and the sides very hot. And the plate scalding hot as well. Isn't that great? The solution is very simple, but rarely ever comes to mind when we need it. All this needs to be done to get a nice reheat of the food is to not dump it in the middle like some sort of slob. Instead, simply line the outside of your plate with the food. This leaves the middle of the plate empty and the heat is evenly distributed around the plate to the food. The question is what to do when you have something that isn't a pile, say for example, 2 hot dogs. The solution is to put both hot dogs on either side of the plate. Make them reheat at the same time. Microwaves bring the heat towards the center from the outer edges of the microwave, which is why the center of the plate always leaves the microwave colder. Another problem that often occurs when heating up something similar to a Hot Pocket is that you somehow end up with the pastry burning hot on the outside and still cold on the inside. The solution is to heat it up slightly, about half of what it says on the box, poke holes into it with a fork, and then continue the heating process. This lets the heat reach the insides of the food. Number 2. Tying extension cords. Often enough, people need to use extension cords in situations where there are a lot of people around, which usually leads to people running over and tripping on them, often unplugging them in the process. The solution to this is to tie the 2 cables together in a pretzel knot and then plug the extension cords into each other. This leaves it so if someone pulls it out, it will only strain the knot and not the actual connection. This helps a lot in construction work where tools need to be plugged in but are equipped with very short cables. Often enough, workers are moving around without paying attention to small items on the ground, meaning wires are often stepped on or dragged. With this simple knot, this will no longer be a problem, and nobody will be interrupted by having the power cut. This also helps when people are together with their computers and their cables are strung all over the room. A computer suffers greatly from the power being cut mid-process, so the more contingencies in place to keep that from happening, the better. A simple knot solves a lot of problems and prevents more, so it's a good idea to remember it whenever you need to connect extension cords. Number 1. Breathing. All these years we have been breathing wrong. How embarrassing is that? Most of us breathe with our chests, however this is actually the wrong way to breathe. According to observations on infants, they breathe with their abdomen closer to their stomach. This method of breathing improves the airflow of your breath as it lets more oxygen into your lungs. This is because the diaphragm moves down toward the stomach to let the lungs suck in air. So letting your stomach move outwards instead of into your chest will let the diaphragm do its job more efficiently. It's actually pretty hard to believe that throughout our lives we develop another way of breathing, but it can be explained that most often we don't need long efficient breaths. Usually we only require smaller and shorter breaths if we're not actively expending energy, which leads to us breathing from our chest to only take in short breaths for the energy we need. There are abdominal breathing techniques to help relax, such as putting your hand over your chest and the other over your stomach. From this position you can make sure your stomach is moving out and your chest is staying in place for the most part.